you happy now? Are you happy now?
Muy buenos días. ¿Qué tal? ¿Qué tal? ¿Todo bien? Estamos en la parábola de Stanley. Para mí un juegazo. Un juegazo. Lo he conocido cuando salió, pero no he tenido la oportunidad de jugarlo. Ahora tengo la oportunidad de jugarlo. Así que estamos acá en la parábola de Stanley. ¿De qué va? Va de todo. De todo va. Che, maní, dígame. Que nos ve. Estoy configurando un plugin para enfriar dejar el server. ¿Vale? Hazlo. Que Dios te bendiga. Bueno, yo voy a comenzar a la parábola de Stanley, que es potente. Vamos a empezar haciendo como lo que un jugador común y corriente haría: seguir todas las reglas. Así que vamos a seguir las reglas. Y si claramente el loading no tardara demasiado, empezaríamos a jugar. Tómate tu tiempo. No hay apuro. Literalmente se está tomando su tiempo. Se está tomando su tiempo cargar. Hermano, anoche te probé, no tardaste tanto. Ah, eso. Ahí reaccionó, ahí va. Dale que va. Dale, yo confío en vos. Vos podés. Buena, alguien, ¿cómo le va? Justo llegaste a tiempo, estamos a punto de empezar. Siempre y cuando la pantalla de carga no tarde 18 años, empezaremos. Perfecto.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor at his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy.
Stanley era feliz. Muy bueno.
And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his
Y
office.
caminó fuera de su oficina. Vale. Hagamos.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Sala de reuniones, vamos. ¿Va a jugar SCP? Seguramente después. Después de jugar un rato a esto. Igual esto es bastante largo. Sala de reuniones.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Puerta de la izquierda. Izquierda. No. Vamos a hacer caso, vamos a hacer caso. La idea acá es hacer caso. Vamos a hacer full caso.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Vamos a la oficina del jefe, vamos. Turutu. Dijo arriba, ¿no?
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Vamos hacia arriba. Hacia la habitación del jefe. O jefazo. Está la habitación del jefazo.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number. 2845.
Vaya.
But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
Claro, ¿cómo voy a saber que el código va a ser? Se me olvidó el código. ¿Cuál era el código? Se me acabo de olvidar. 2845.
Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing.
Oh my god.
He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Pasaje. O botón. Un segundo que tengo la sensibilidad bastante alta. Y sensibilidad no tanto. Estaba bastante baja. Ahora está un poquito baja. Tranquilo, relájate. Vamos a dejarlo a la mitad. A la mitad, ¿no? Sí. Más. Vale. Bueno, hasta ahora estamos haciendo caso a todo lo que se debe hacer. Sin hacer nada malo.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
Literalmente no veo un choto acá. Vamos.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Instalación y control mental. Oh my god. escape. Ese pasillo no da ninguna buena espina. No, yo me... Me quiero escapar, pero a la vez no. Son cuestiones así... éticas. Cuestiones de ética. No sé qué hacer. Mi vida depende de estas decisiones. Pero la idea es que hacer todo caso. Vamos a hacer todo caso, todo caso. Hola. O botón.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
¿Qué encontraremos acá? Botón.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Oh my god. Nos vigilaban a todos. Botón. A ver. Oh, botón.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
Inquietante. Ya.
No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Uf. System power. El poder del sistema. Oh my god. Y ahí acá cagó. ¿La apago o la enciendo? Supongo que la debo pagar, ¿no? Sospechoso. Bueno, ya la apagué. No, ¿no te imaginas que se me crashó el juego? No, ahí está.
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over?
¿Había acabado?
Yes. He had won.
¡Gané!
He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door.
Stanley caminó hacia afuera en la puerta.
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Muy happy. Y Stanley era feliz. Y ahora hicimos feliz a Stanley. Mucho más feliz de lo que ya era. Completa el juego, logro desbloqueado. Bien, listo muchachos, hemos terminado el juego. La verdad que la pasamos bastante bien. No, mentira, que vamos a terminar el juego si este juego es eterno. Literalmente eterno, este juego basura. Bueno, vamos a empezar, vamos a hacer todo lo contrario. Literalmente todo lo contrario. Todo lo contrario.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
¿Por qué podía?
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Simplemente se habría perdido un memo. A la sala de reuniones, vamos.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he
Entró la
entered the
puerta de
door
la
on his
izquierda,
left.
vamos. Puerta de la izquierda, no, vamos a la derecha.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
A la sala de empleados primero, solo para admirarla.
Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
Sí, vamos a apreciar todo. Vamos a apreciar literalmente todo. Lindos sillones, lindas tazas.
Yes,
sí,
really worth it being here in the room. A room so utterly captivating that even though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings.
Viendo esta silla y algunas pinturas, realmente lo valen. Sí, la verdad que lo valen. ¿Qué me importa mis compañeros y el resto de mi trabajo? Me importa esta sala.
At this point, Stanley's obsession with this room bordered on creepy and reflected poorly on his overall personality. It's possible that this is why everyone left.
Es posible que porque sea escalofriante todo se haya ido. Bueno, mejor así.
Stanley sat around waiting for more dialogue, but when a long time had passed and there was no more, he decided that the game was trying to send him a message.
Cold drinks, o sea, bebidas frías. ¿Será? ¿Va acorde con la hora? No, mentira, que vaya acorde con la hora. Serían como... En 5 minutos van a ser como las 12. No, en menos de 5 minutos van a ser como las 11. ¿Se va a hacer las 11? Vamos a ver. Me voy a quedar acá más tiempo, ¿no? Vamos a observar el reloj. A ver si cambia de hora. Interesante. Creo que no se están moviendo mucho. Creo que ese minutero no se está moviendo mucho, que digamos. ¿Vos es otra? ¿Me vas a hablar? ¿O no? ¿No? ¿No me vas a hablar? ¿Algo más? No hay problema. Dime. ¿No? Bueno.
But at last, he'd had enough of the amazing room and took the first open door on his left to get back to
abierta a
business.
su izquierda para regresar a los negocios. O sea, esta. O sea que debo seguir adelante.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't 5 years
direcciones.
ago.
Qué increíble que no hayan despedido ese año. Viste, potente. No saltar. Cargos por saltar, o sea, $5,000 por saltar. Bien.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her.
¿Ella? ¿Tengo un ella?
This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life. She's been waiting.
Ella ha estado esperando. Oh, tengo un ella.
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this. To reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another, then pick up the phone.
¿Y si no quiero? No. No voy a tomar ese... No. Que siga llamando. No quiero en ella. Estoy bien solo. No. Que llame. Yo no voy a contestar. No. ¿Si la desconecto?
As Stanley picked up the phone, a white light engulfed him, filling him not just with radiance, but with hope. Hope for a life reunited one... Wait.
No,
oh, goodness. Stanley, did you just unplug the phone?
Sí,
No, that wasn't supposed to be a choice. How did you do that? You actually chose incorrectly? I didn't even know that was possible. Let me double check. No, it's definitely here, clear as day. Stanley picks up the phone. He's taken to his apartment where he finds his wife, and the two pledge themselves to one another. Music comes in, fade to white, roll credits. Not picking up the phone is actually somehow an incorrect course of action. How is that even possible? None of these decisions were supposed to mean anything. I don't understand. How on earth are you making meaningful choices? What did you... Wait a second. Did I just see... No, that's not possible. I can't believe it. How had I not noticed it sooner? You're not Stanley. You're a real person.
Sí, soy una verdadera persona, no soy Stanley.
I can't believe I was so mistaken. This is why you've been able to make correct and incorrect choices. And to think I've been letting you run around in this game for so long. If you'd made any more wrong choices, you might have negated it entirely. It's as though you completely ignored even the most basic safety protocol for real-world decision-making. Or did you not grasp the severity of the situation? Well, I won't have that kind of risk on my watch. I'm going to stop the game for a moment so we can educate you properly on safe decision-making in the real world. Please observe this helpful instructional video.
Vamos a ver video instructivo de educación.
Choice. It's the best part of being a real person. But if used incorrectly, can also be the most dangerous. For example, in this scenario, a hypothetical real person named Stephen has a choice. He could spend years helping improve the quality of life for citizens of impoverished third world nations. Or he could systematically set fire to every orphan living in a 30-kilometer radius of his house. Which choice would you make? Remember that unlike here, the real world makes sense, and at no time should you make a choice that does not conform to rational logic. If you find yourself speaking with a person who does not make sense, in all likelihood, that person is not real. Allow the person to finish their thought, then provide an excuse why you cannot continue talking. Turn to a partner and practice saying, "My goodness, is it 4:30? I'm supposed to be having a back, sack, and crack."
Práctica. Ya ahí, ¿cómo practico? Vamos a practicar un poco de...
Excellent. Making choices on a regular basis is the best part to a healthy decision-making process. Most medical professionals recommend making at least 8 choices per day. Do you make more than 8? Less? And finally, if you begin to wonder if your choices are actually meaningful and whether you'll ever make a significant contribution to the world, just remember that in the vast infiniteness of space, your thoughts and problems are materially insignificant, and the feeling should subside. At this time, your instructor will guide you in an exercise to test and reinforce the material covered in this video.
Bien.
Ah, welcome back. You may have noticed that this room has begun to deteriorate as a result of narrative contradiction. But not to worry. Now that you're properly informed on good decision-making, we're going to revisit a choice you made just a few minutes ago and see what the correct thing to do would have been. This way, please.
¿Qué es esto? Es la parábola de Stanley. Bueno, dígame, ¿qué hacemos? Yo continúo, no hay ningún problema. Ahora acercaste esta basura, ¿no? Podía haber saltado y
Now that we
una
know
multa
your
de
choices are
$5,000.
meaningful, we can't have you jumping off the platform and dying. Imagine the main character dying senselessly halfway through the story. That story would make no sense at all. We just need to get you home as soon as possible before the narrative contradiction gets any worse. Unfortunately, it seems this place is not well equipped to deal with reality.
Ok. Lo podría bajar, ¿no? O sea que tanto se queja usted. Ahí, perfecto. ¿Y si me quiero ir por acá? No puedo. ¿Por acá? No puedo. ¿Por acá? No. Vale.
Almost there. You'll take the door on the
Tomará la
left,
puerta
back to the
izquierda,
correct ending,
volverás al
the
final
story will
correcto,
have
la historia tendrá
resolution
una
once
solución
again, and you'll be
una vez
home
más
free
y
in
estarás
the real
en casa
world.
libre en el mundo real. Perfecto, vale, vamos a hacer eso.
Now remember, all you
Recuerda,
need to
todo
do
lo que
is behave
necesites.
exactly as Stanley would.
Como
That
Stanley,
means
¿no?
choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine.
Dale, de acuerdo,
All right.
vamos a hacer las cosas bien. Dale, vamos.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Puerta izquierda, dale. No, vamos a la derecha.
No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back in the other direction. Perhaps we're not too late.
No, quiero ir por acá. Por esta puerta. No puedo. No puedo. Por acá. Tampoco puedo. Buena, Gonzalito, ¿cómo le va? Bueno, huevo. ¿Pero qué seguir acá? Quiero seguir acá. Déjame. Yo quiero. Oh. Quiero estar acá, no quiero ir por la otra puerta. No me gusta la otra puerta. Estoy acá. Yo me voy a quedar acá. Encima no puedo saltar. No existe el botón de saltar. Yo me quedo acá. Intentando entrar a esta habitación. Abre la puerta. Va a pasar algo. Eso espero. Ah, por esa puerta no voy a ir. ¿Por acá? No, tampoco. Lo mismo no va a pasar nada, hermano. Yo me quiero quedar acá. Acá. Esa oficina está completamente destruida, literalmente. Ya fue, vamos a hacer una vez casa. Ya. ¿Feliz?
Oh, it's ruined. I can't believe, after everything we talked about, that my story, you've destroyed my work. Why? For what? What did you get out of that? What did you think was so special about seeing the game undone, left here like so much garbage? It's worthless now. And what am I supposed to do? Even if there were a way to continue, would it be worth it? To know that my story is now incorrect? How can I go back to that? I can't erase that knowledge. I'll have to live with it forever, reliving its impossibility forever. Oh, I couldn't live that way. Is it better to shut the game down entirely? To willingly destroy all of my work? No. What's the answer? What do I do? No, I have to. I have to shut the game down. I have to.
No, pero no me apagué el juego. No, hermano, no me apagó el juego. Pero no me apagué el juego, no. Me apagó el juego. Bueno, muchachos, se apagó el juego. ¿Continuamos con nosotros con SCP? No, mentira.
Oh, I'm here. I'm still here. Here in this pile of rubbish. With you. You, who thought you were so clever. Now look where we are. My entire game is destroyed. It was the only thing in the world that was mine, and you've run it into the ground. What, did you think that would be funny? You just had to see? Didn't I impress upon you how important it was to be like Stanley?
Es que yo no
He
quiero ser
actually knows how to
Stanley.
do
Yo
what I
quiero
tell
ser
him
yo.
to. He understands that if I say to do something, there's a damn good reason for it. That thought hadn't even occurred to you, had it? That there's a world outside of you? You're a child.
Sí, soy un niño.
My story. If you'd just gone through the door on the left, you would have seen there was a whole underground facility. You would have destroyed it and been victorious. It would have been so perfect. I worked so hard on it. I tried so hard. Behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task.
O sea,
Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All
¿De qué
right.
trata este juego? De todo.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
La puerta de la izquierda. No, vamos a la derecha.
No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry.
Yo...
Just behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Vamos a la izquierda, no, vamos a la derecha.
No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry.
Y vamos a seguir así hasta no sé.
Exactly as
Dale,
Stanley would.
vamos.
That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right.
Vamos.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Ah, la puerta de la izquierda, no, derecha.
No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry.
Y vamos a seguir así constantemente.
Just behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task.
¿Hasta qué punto voy a
Just
quebrar el
follow my
juego?
lead and you'll be fine.
Es posible que
All right.
quiebre el juego. Sigo
When
entrando por la
Stanley
derecha.
came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
No, soy disléxico. Esta es la izquierda.
No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry.
Y dale.
Just behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task.
Ya, vamos a hacer
Just
una
follow
última
my
vez.
lead
Si
and
siguen
you'll be
repitiendo
fine.
lo mismo,
All
voy
right.
a hacerle caso.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
No.
No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry. Just behave.
Creo que ya, literalmente acabo de romper el juego. Sí, lo acabo de romper.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
No estoy. ¿Sabes que no estoy ahí? Ya acabo de romper el juego, literalmente lo acabo de romper. Amigo, no estoy ahí. No sé si te estás dando cuenta de que no estoy ahí. ¡Ayuda! Acabo de romper el juego, literalmente lo acabo de romper. No es por interrumpir tu... Pero no estoy ahí. No sé si es romper el juego o si el juego está para que hagas eso, ¿viste? Potente. No estoy. No sé si te estás dando cuenta de que no puedo elegir. No estoy, ayuda. No sé si te das cuenta que no estoy. No estoy. Voy a comenzar la partida porque literalmente lo acabo de romper. Ya hicimos. Hacerle caso en todo lo que dijo y no hacerle caso en todo lo que dice. Ahora vamos a hacer uno y uno. Uno sí, uno no. Así que vamos a empezar.
All of his co-workers were gone.
Todos sus compañeros de
What
trabajo,
could it
amigos
mean?
desaparecidos, bla bla
Stanley
bla.
decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Entonces este TP está lleno para que está lleno de
When
bugs.
Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Puerta izquierda. Bueno, uno sí. Ahora la siguiente no.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an
Vale,
answer
vamos a la
there.
oficina de jefe. O podemos para acá. Oh, se puede abrir. Oh, hola.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
No, me quedo acá. Observando las cintas. O la llave.
There was nothing here.
No hay nada
choice
aquí,
to make,
ninguna
no
elección,
path to
ningún
follow,
camino que seguir,
just
solo un
an
armario de
empty
limpieza
broom
vacío.
closet. No
Ninguna razón
reason
para
to
seguir
still
estando
be
aquí.
here.
Lo que ya está acá, con mi cubo de limpieza. Está perfecto. Y una escoba.
It was baffling that Stanley was still just sitting in the broom closet. He wasn't even doing anything. At least if there was something to interact with, he'd be justified in some way. As it is, he's literally just standing there doing
Solo ahí
sweet
parado,
buffet.
sin importarle nada, ¿viste? Estoy acá, observando una llave. Por así.
Are you really still in the broom closet?
Sí, estoy en el
Standing
armario.
around doing nothing?
Sí,
Why?
estoy acá.
Please offer me some explanation here. I'm genuinely
No sé,
confused.
me gusta. Esa cinta está potente. Está potente esa cinta. Y esa llave también. La escoba. El balde de
You
limpieza.
do realize there's no choice or anything in here, right? If I'd said Stanley walked past the broom closet, at least you would have had a reason for exploring it to find out. But it didn't even occur to me because literally this closet is of absolutely no significance to the story whatsoever. I never would have thought to mention it.
Sí, pero me gusta este lugar. Con su llavecita.
Maybe to you this is somehow its own branching path. Maybe when you go talk about this with your friend you'll say, "Oh, did you get the
Che,
broom
¿vieron el
closet
final
ending?
del
The
armario?
broom closet ending
El
was
final
my
del armario estaba
favorite."
re
I hope
grandioso.
your friends find this
Re
consoling.
grosso. Che, ¿vieron el final del armario? Estaba re grosso.
Stanley was fat and ugly and really stupid.
Un
He
cuerpo
probably
feo.
only got the job because of a
Realmente
family connection.
estúpido.
That's how stupid he is. That or with drug money. Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers.
Adicto a la droga y prostituta.
Well, I've come to a very definite conclusion about what's going on right now. You're dead.
Estás muerto.
You got to this broom closet, explored it a bit, and were just about to leave because there's nothing here, when a physical malady of some sort shut down your central nervous system and you collapsed on the
Y
keyboard.
colapsaste en el
In
teclado.
a situation like this, the responsible thing is to alert someone nearby so as to ensure that your body is taken care of before it begins to
Hasta que comience a
decompose.
componerse bien.
Hello? Anyone who happens to be nearby? The person at this computer is dead. He or she has fallen prey to any number of your countless human
Sí, dice todo muy
physiological
calmado.
vulnerabilities. It's indicative of the long-term sustainability of your species. Please remove their corpse from the area and instruct another human to take their place at the computer, making sure they understand basic first-person video game mechanics and filling them in on the history of narrative tropes in video gaming, so that the irony and insightful commentary of this game is not lost on them. All
Bien.
right, when you've done that, just step out into the hallway.
Cuando salga, eso salga al pasillo. No, yo me quedo acá, observando esa cinta. Está muy bueno esta basura. Todavía no entiendo el juego, pero es gracioso. El tema es que sos un oficinista y toda tu vida estuviste presionando teclas en un teclado. Y de repente ya no hay más nadie en tu trabajo y una vocesota te dice las cosas que tenés que hacer. Y de eso va el juego. De tomar tus propias decisiones y no dejarte guiar por la vocesota. ¿Qué hicimos? Hacerle caso en todo lo que la vocesota decía. En no hacerle caso a lo que toda la vocesota decía y terminamos rompiendo el juego. Y ahora estamos haciendo uno sí y uno no. Y la primera no, ya nos metimos acá adentro. ¿Ya no me vas a dar? Extraño. Creo que no me va a hablar.
Ah, second player. It's good to have you on
Jugador
board.
2.
I guarantee you can't do any worse than the person who came before you.
Vale. Vale.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Bueno, ya hice uno sí. Leí a la izquierda, uno no. De meterme en el armario, uno sí. Vamos a subir. Voy acá. El despacho del jefe es este, pero me voy para el otro lado. ¿Puedo abrir esta puerta? Oh, un baño. Money, dinero. Usa el baño. Perfecto, no tengo reflejos, soy un vampiro. Pero no se puede hacer nada. ¿Y si me voy por acá? Oh, hola. Ascensor. panda. Oh. Bueno, vámonos. Presiono los botones como si el ascensor fuera a hacer algo magnífico. Oh. Ni siquiera sé para dónde estoy yendo. ¿Esto se abre o no se abre? Sigo acá. ¿Y si bajo? Solo vamos a bajar. Esto no se abre. Deja abajo. Hermano, sigo acá. Dejen de estafarme. A ver si probamos a subir. Bueno, ese ascensor no lleva a ningún lado. Estoy bastante decepcionado. A ver.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What could it mean? Stanley wondered aloud to nobody. He began wildly tearing through papers on the boss's desk, pulling books off the shelf, looking behind paintings, desperate for clues to his situation. But his attention was caught by a keypad behind the boss's desk. What could its purpose be? In fact, this keypad guarded the terrible secret that lay buried below his feet. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret pin number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
Obviamente, no sé cuál es el código de eso. Creo que es infinito, posiblemente.
Stanley just sat around twiddling his
thumbs.
Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845.
Tengo que actuar como Stanley, no puedo saber que la combinación es 2845. Así que no.
2845.
Es que soy Stanley, no sé, eso no lo puedo saber. No puedo saber la clave secreta de ese panel que está ahí. No tengo ni idea. Puedo toquetear un poco así como 1, 6, 7, 2,
Forgot,
5.
but it turns out that the panel's emergency override kicked in, and the door just opened all by itself. And Stanley got the hell along with the story. Well, whoop-de-doo.
Vale, está bien. Digamos. Ya vamos. Sí, acá. Ay, no me di cuenta. Bueno, después en la siguiente la podemos hacer. Al final la puerta se abrió sola, así que bueno. La contamos como que lo hice bien. Nosotros continuamos.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Centro de control mental. O escape. Ahí nos vemos. Chao.
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his
Se encontraría con su violenta muerte. Oh, bueno. No me importa nada. Yo me voy
The
por mi
door
violenta
behind him was
muerte.
not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
Voltearse y regresar el camino. No, yo sigo por...
At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
Confrontar su muerte. No me importa, dale. A tope con la muerte. Vamos. ¡Yuhu! A tope con la muerte. Vamos a morir. Potentemente. Fuertemente. Vamos. Se puede. Se puede morir potentemente. Me tuve que quebrar las piernas tranquilamente.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this really is. Perhaps his death was of no loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. So he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life.
No, me voy a morir, hermano. Literalmente me voy a morir. No, amigo, me voy a morir. ¡Ah!
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated, as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
O se me abre la parte de abajo y caigo de nuevo. ¿Dónde carajo estoy? No veo un choto, literalmente no veo un choto. No veo un choto, dame un segundo. Porque literalmente no veo un choto. No veo un choto F por Stanley. No morí aún, no morí. Pero no veo un choto, literalmente no veo un choto. Ahora sí. Un poquito mejor. Ustedes no verán nada, pero... Oh. Stanley Parable.
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish? When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
Estaba muerto desde el principio de la partida. Oh, wow. ¿Qué es este lugar? Cuadros. La computadora de Stanley. Bien. Oficina. El mapa de la oficina. Bien. El corredor. Las dobles puertas. Perfecto. The two doors. Bien. De oficinas. Bien. Oh, botón. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh. Ah, ¿y este es el final del juego? ¿Así? O los créditos. ¿Qué hay acá? Vale. Esto es como un museo explicando todas las cosas del juego. ¿Qué hay acá? Nada remains. Lo mismo el narrador no te envía ningún mensaje. Potente el museo. Vale. No, definitivamente no estoy entendiendo nada, mano. Exit. No puedo ir. No puedo seguir revisando. Igual tampoco es que me importa demasiado. Me voy. Chao.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free.
Lo puedo bajar, ¿no? Lo bajé.
Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another?
¿Cuánto necesitan entre ellos?
No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things
Estas cosas no
cannot be
pueden ser
seen.
vistas.
But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before
No,
they both
estoy acá de
fail.
nuevo.
Push
Ayúdame.
escape and
No,
press
me voy a
quit.
morir.
There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you
Ayúdame, me voy a
move
morir,
forward,
no.
you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop
Ayúdame, me voy a
now.
morir,
Your
no,
only
me
true
voy a morir.
choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time choose for you. Don't let time.
¡No! Ahora sí me morí. F por Stanley. Pero qué juegazo, viste, potente. Ahora sí morí. Bueno, F en el chat por Stanley. Acaba de morir muy fuertemente después de visitar un museo. No me gustaría mucho que el juego continuara y no se crashee. Es que no puedo... Cada final que saque pues siempre se me va a terminar poniendo así la partida. Nunca termina de iniciarse. ¿Cuántos finales he sacado? 1, 2. ¿Cuántos se quedan? 3. Y con ese que acabo de ver, 4.
All of his co-workers were gone.
Bueno,
What
vamos a
could it
hacer de
mean?
nuevo, pero
Stanley
al
decided to go to
contrario.
the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Antes elegimos.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Bien, la habitación
Wow,
potente.
yes,
Muy preciosa.
this
Bueno,
room.
continuamos.
But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Y no, la verdad que no. Voy a continuar por acá. Con permisito.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing in your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you forgot. What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance.
Probate que estoy de tu lado. Dame chance. Vale, te voy a dar chance.
Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked
Stanley
through the
caminó
red door.
por la puerta roja. No, soy daltónico. Esta es la roja.
Aha, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door.
Soy daltónico, perdón.
I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked through the red door.
Oh, la puerta roja. Soy daltónico, esta es la roja.
All right, fine, go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't let me stop you. You see? There's nothing here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map, because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you wanted? Was it worth ruining the entire story I had written out specifically for you? Do you not think I put a lot of time into that? Because I did. And in the end, it was all for nothing. Because this is what you wanted to see. Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles? Skill trees? Work with me. You've given me absolutely nothing so far.
Bueno, tampoco es que pueda hacer mucho.
Let me take a stab in the dark at a new design, and you can give me some feedback. There we go. A third option. This already feels leaps ahead of where we were before. Go ahead, Stanley. Take it for a spin.
Me llama mucho la atención esta puerta de mierda. Vamos.
Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Now, tell me about your experience with this new version. Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you more choices? Feel free to be honest. I'm looking for some real critical feedback here.
Digan. Vale. ¿Tengo que elegir un número? ¿Qué número elegimos? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1.
A 1? I mean, I can understand if you had reservations, you saw ways the game could be improved to more fully express itself mechanically and artistically, but a 1? That's not even helpful. What am I supposed to do with that? But I guess it isn't my place to judge. Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look.
Vamos, a ver, veamos. De Stanley Parable. O sea, tabla de Stanley Parable. Oh, ¿esto es real? Ah, no, nadie puede pasar ese juego en 2 segundos. Ya, ¿y yo dónde estoy? Ese soy yo. Estoy en el puesto 9328. Perfecto. Me gusta ese número.
Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated to keep walking through doors? Again, honest answers, please.
No, me gusta el...
Hey, I nearly forgot. I've got a prototype of a new game I've been working on, and now would be a lovely opportunity to give it some playtesting. You wouldn't mind taking a look at it, would you? Perfect. Let me boot it up.
Si te da así se puede terminar en 2 segundos, hermano.
In this game, the baby crawls left towards danger. You click the button to move him back to the right, and if he reaches the fire, you fail. It's a very meaningful game, all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands of family life. I think the art world will really take notice. But of course, the message of the game only becomes clear once you've been playing it for
4 horas, hermano, ¿estás loco?
So why don't you give it 4 hours of play to make sure it's effective?
4
Be sure
horas
to keep
esta basura,
notes on
hermano.
your experience.
¿En serio tengo que estar 4 horas haciendo esta basura? Bueno, directo de 4 horas. De 4 horas apretando un botón. Si haces las 4 horas te sale el final secreto. No, ¿en serio, ¿en serio están 4 horas haciendo esta basura para...? No, hermano. Bueno, vamos a estar 4 horas así. No, bueno. Ya que estamos, hay que sacar un final, ¿no? Vamos a estar 4 horas así. Bueno. Ninguno de ustedes es moderador, porque si no le iba a decir que pongan de título en el stream. Jugando 4 horas que el bebé no toque el fuego. Encima me molesto el sonido del botón. Buena Master, ¿cómo le va? Bienvenido a un stream de 4 horas salvando a un bebé de que no toque el fuego. ¿Te imaginas que todo era una mentira? me quiero mover por pelotudo, hermano. ¿Qué pasó? Mi ausencia, pasaron muchas cosas. Y ahora de repente Stanley Parable es salvando a un bebé de que no toque el fuego por 4 horas. O sea, qué malo. Sé que lo querrían, pero eso lo había quedado a todos ustedes como unos psicópatas, asesinos criminales. Es un bebito, hermano, no pueden asesinar a un bebé. ¿Y tú? Yo lo estoy salvando, hermano, ¿no ves que estoy presionando el botón de mierda para evitar que el bebé basura no toque el fuego basura? Me quiero volver chanca, hermano. ¡Ah, ya muérete, hermano! Muérete.
You heartless bastard.
Descorazonado
Did you
bastardo.
do it because you hate babies or purely to spite me? Because if it's the latter, well, I don't know what to do. I'm completely out of ideas. I can't think of a single thing that might improve the experience for me. I'm not even going to try. I'm out. I'm done. It's over. Thank you for playing. Your input was extremely valuable. Oh, hey, since my game was so awful, why don't we play someone else's game? Just to ease the pain. Let's see. What do we have here?
Se pide
Yes,
menos, pero
this
usted
seems like
estima
it'll
de
work. Let's give it a shot.
A ver, ¿qué vamos a intentar? Otro juego de un cachorro de que no caiga a unos pinchos. ¿Minecraft?
Well, Stanley, is this any better? At last, the one thing
Sí,
you've
me gusta
always
Minecraft.
desired. A game I had absolutely nothing to do with.
Pero
But is it enough? Tell me that, Stanley.
logro desbloqueado,
Will
no puede
it ever
saltar.
be enough?
La puta madre, no
I'll
puedo
say
saltar.
this, I'm done making things for you. From now on, I will only create to fulfill a greater artistic purpose. Watch this, Stanley. I'm going to build a house.
¿Qué estás haciendo?
This will go here, no, here, and then... Let's see, what does it need? Yes, of course, and just to finish it all off, yes, it's complete. I made this, Stanley. Look at it. Gaze upon my work of
Pero
art
esta casa
and
no
feel
la hice yo.
ashamed at your
La
own
hiciste tú.
inadequacy.
Insuficiencia.
But you've only seen it from the outside. You've only gotten half the experience. Please, step inside and make yourself comfortable. Isn't it grand? Isn't it perfect?
Perfecto, sí, sí,
It could
es
only be
muy
better.
buena, muy buena.
Wait, that's it. We must rebuild it out of diamond. Diamond,
sí, una
everything.
diamante, está ahí.
Yes. Come along, Stanley. We have to go mining.
Ya, vamos a mirar. Vamos a picotear algo. Pero no tengo pico, no puedo romper.
Oh my, it looks like it's going to get a bit dark. Have you brought a light?
No traje luz. No tengo nada, no tengo inventario.
This is far more open-ended than I had in mind. I'm looking for something more narrow and
Carbón.
linear. Something that makes you feel utterly irrelevant. This won't do at all. 1 out of 5. Even the diamonds couldn't save this one. Okay, new game.
Otro juego, pero me estaba divirtiendo en Minecraft. Oh, me quitaron Minecraft. Oh. Tremendo viaje se pega, Me quitaron Minecraft. ¿Te imaginas jugar Minecraft con esa voz? Yo estaría jugando 24/7 al juego. Portal, perfecto. Esto también me gusta.
Yes! I don't even know what this game is, but I love it. You, trapped in a glass box with no way out, listening to me talk. Oh, it's inspired. I couldn't have done it any better myself. What is this game even supposed to be? I can't figure it out.
Siempre me gustaba jugar con la radio.
Okay,
Yeah.
curious. Let's go find out what the hell this is.
Con la radio siempre hacía estupidez.
It's a puzzle.
Ay, no, por
Critical thinking, Stanley. Your forte.
Necesito que caiga de pie. Ay, no. Pero radio de mierda. Ahí, quieto. Ay, de mierda. Vamos a hacerlo más sencillo.
Genius.
Ay, listo. Y me llevo el cubo. ¿Tendrá el mismo peso la radio acá, en este juego? Vamos a probarlo. Pero deja el cubo. Deja el cubo. La puta madre, cubo de mierda. Quédate ahí. Ahí, ese es tu lugar. A ver, radio, tú. ¿Tendrás el mismo peso? Cubo fuera. Está ahí. No tienes el mismo peso. Bueno, no importa. Vámonos. Ya.
No, actually, you know what? I think that's plenty.
No, pero me
I
estaba
really don't care
divirtiendo.
much to
Vamos
see
con
you
un poquito
stumble through any more of these
de
games, and I highly doubt you're any.
¿Se metió? Ojalá que ponga algún juego de SCP. Hola. puedo seguir cayendo. Y me caí para siempre. Esto ya da un poquito de miedo, la verdad. ¿Ustedes ven algo? Porque yo... Te adoro. Esto ya da un poco de miedo. Denme un segundo porque le voy a aumentar un poquito el brillo a ustedes porque seguramente no deben estar viendo un choto. Filtros. Filtros. No veo un pingo. Sí, sí, ahí lo ayuda. No, eso demasiado. Eso debería ayudar un poco. Y que tampoco sé por dónde ir. No es que tenga muchas opciones. ¿O esto es la doble puerta o no? Que no tengo ni idea de dónde, a dónde tengo que ir. No tengo vocesota, guíame por favor. No tengo ni idea de dónde estoy ni lo que estoy haciendo con mi vida. Y acá aparezco. Oh, luz. Luz divina, sácame de acá. Ya, acá. Toqueteo. Oh, toqueteo. No hace nada. Hola. ¿Alguien me dice qué hacer?
I wonder what he found.
Me
If
pregunto
what
qué
he
encontró.
wanted was to be the leading man in his own story, well, perhaps he's gotten it. Down in wherever he is right
Donde sea que
now.
se encuentra ahora.
I wonder if he's happy with his choice. And if
Si
he's
está feliz
learned
con su
the heavy
elección.
cost that
Sí.
comes with it. He'll understand soon what I was trying to tell him. He needs me. Someone who will wrap everything up at the end, to make sense out of the chaos and the fear and the confusion. That's who I am. That is what I mean to this world. Oh, yes. Yes, I'll be back. There's no other way. Once this ends, after it all comes to a close, then I'll be back. The end will be here soon. Very soon. I can wait.
Bien. ¿Y ahora? Vale. Comenzamos de nuevo. Ah, me habían dicho que se da la puerta.
But Stanley simply couldn't handle the pressure.
No puedo aguantar la
What if he
presión.
had to make a decision? What if a crucial outcome fell under his responsibility? He had never been trained for that. No. This couldn't go anywhere except badly. The thing to do now, Stanley thought to himself, is to wait. Nothing will hurt me. Nothing will break me.
Nada me
And
lastima,
here I
nada
can
me
be
romperá.
happy
Aquí entro.
forever.
Puedo ser feliz.
I will be
Por
happy.
siempre. Yo seré feliz.
Stanley waited. Hours passed.
Horas
Then
pasaron,
days.
luego días.
Had years
Habían pasado
gone by?
años.
He no
Él ya lo
longer had the
tenía
ability
habilidad
to
para
tell.
saber.
But the one thing he knew for sure, beyond any doubt, was that if he waited long enough, the answers would come. Eventually, someday, they would arrive. Soon, very soon now, this will end. He will be spoken to. He will be told what to do. Now it's just a little bit closer.
¿Quién viene?
Now it's even closer. Here it comes.
No, ¿quién vino? No, me comió el... ¿Me comieron? Bueno, ese fue el final más rápido del mundo. Ok. Ahora voy a
All
seguir
his
sus
coworkers
decisiones.
were gone.
Ahora las
could it
decisiones
be?
las toman ustedes.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Tu, 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 tu. Ya.
When
Izquierda o
Stanley
derecha.
came to a
Ustedes
set of
deciden.
two open doors, he entered the door on his
Salta
left.
por la ventana. Ya, decidan. Esto se puso interesante. Para. Izquierda, derecha. Bueno, pónganse de acuerdo. A ver si se ponen de acuerdo. A la derecha y tirate el vacío. Bueno, por ahora hay dos derechas. ¿Alguno más? ¿Hace una competencia? A la izquierda. Bueno, ahora tengo dos izquierdas y dos derechas. ¿Qué hago? ¿Qué elijo? Necesito un desempate. Necesito uno que venga y diga: no, anda para este lado. No hagas nada, no hagas nada. Bueno, me toca. Necesito un desempate. En verdad, derecha en dirección a la izquierda. Vamos a la derecha.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and
Vamos a hacer lo
Stanley
que me
knew it
dijeron, me voy a
perfectly
tirar al
well.
vacío.
Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. The lounge was sublime, a work of art. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Ahora no van,
Stanley
no
was so
vamos a tirar
bad at
vacío.
following directions, it's
Tengan en cuenta
incredible
que
it
me van a
wasn't
meter una
5
multa,
years
porque acá
ago.
dice saltar, penalización por saltar, $5.000. O sea,
But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and
se arrojó a
plunged to
su
his death.
muerte.
Good job, Stanley.
Buen trabajo,
Everyone
Stanley.
thinks you are very powerful.
Todos creen que es muy poderoso. Perfecto. Alto final. Subí para abajo. No, hermano.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of two open, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Standing now in this incredible room, eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her. This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life. She's been waiting. That's her, Stanley.
¿Aló? ¿Quién es?
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven.
Oh, tengo esposa.
All right. Okay, there we go.
No me puedo mover.
All right, now, I want you to come in and
¿Aló,
tell me
mamá?
all about...
No, me estafaron.
Gotcha! Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you?
Arrogante, no,
I'm trying to make
hermano,
a point here,
me
Stanley.
está sacando mal.
I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really
Es como
going
te
on
botaste
here.
lo que realmente está ocurriendo. No.
This is a very sad story about the death of a man
Sobre
named
un
Stanley.
hombre. No. Buenos días, empleado. 427. Presiona acá en su teclado. No.
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job
Bastante
that demands
aburrido.
nothing of
Un
him,
trabajo.
and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence.
No. Presione 8.
Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what
Presionando
he's told
botones.
to
No.
do.
Ahora soy
Now
Stanley.
he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life.
Presione 5.
But in his mind, he can go on fantastic adventures.
No lo
From
presione.
behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the
Me siento obligado. Me
unknown,
siento Stanley.
fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful. And each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him.
Por favor, presione la L para mirar la TV.
And so he began to fantasize about his own job.
¿Dónde carajo está la
First, he
televisión?
imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the
No
earth.
apretes nada.
The thought excited him terribly.
Presiona L para pasar tiempo con los muchachos.
So he went further. He imagined that he came to 2 open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It
Por fin,
barely
elección.
even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold.
Presiona L para preparar la cena.
As he wandered through
No,
this fantasy
hermano,
world,
pero eso es
he
preparar la
began
cena.
to fill it with many possible paths and
Estoy haciendo mi vida,
destinations.
hermano.
Down one path lay an enormous round room
Hijo puta
with
maldita.
monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable.
Presiona J para contarle a los niños una historia.
It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again,
No,
over
man.
and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path.
Que te
Mustn't there
manipula.
be? Perhaps if he
Me está
played just
manipulando.
one more time.
No puedo decirle no a esa voz. Presione F para decirle a su esposa que lo ama. F.
But there is no
No,
answer.
desapareció mi
How could there
esposa.
possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one.
Presiona G para ir a dormir.
And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an
puede ser más
observer,
observador.
that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself.
Matándose a sí
But he
mismo.
won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here,
No se
watch
detiene.
this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button,
Detente.
do not do it.
La próxima pantalla no dijo que no presione. Presiona X para estar en el trabajo por la mañana. Dijo que no lo presione. Este no lo presiona. Este me quedo observando. Van a ser las 6. O sea, son las 6. ¿O no? Ahora sí. Bueno.
You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to
Es
kill
un
himself?
mental.
How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself?
Presiona ahí para cuestionar nada. Para cuestionarme la nada. Muy bien.
I suppose I can't, not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again.
Por favor, muera.
Pushed a button.
What?
And I tried again. And Stanley pushed a button. And I
Por favor, muera. Oh, me mandaron a la tumba. Oh, me mataron. Por favor, muera. Oh, concha tu madre. Oh.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Saltar por la ventana, es que no puedo saltar, no existe el saltar, no existe. Ya,
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Voy a esta puerta, no. No.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Hoping he might come into a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Oh, no.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss. Admitting he had left his post during work hours, he might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished. His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all. None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground.
Oh, estoy volando.
Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head?
Porque una voz en mi cabeza dictando todo lo que estoy haciendo y pensando.
Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself? Believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay.
No, ¿sigo acá? No, amigo, ayúdenme.
Stanley began screaming.
Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I?
And everything went black. This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
What? Ahora soy Mariela, vale.
Mariella woke up on a day
Mariela
like
se despertó un día
another.
como
She
que quiero
rose, got dressed,
levantó, se
gathered her
vistió juntos.
belongings, and
No,
walked to her
mis
place of
pantalones.
work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by
No.
the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal.
Lo afortunada que
I
era
am
ser
sane.
normal.
I am in control of my mind. I know what
Sé lo
is
que es
real
real y lo
and
que
what
no.
isn't.
No.
It was comforting
F.
to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day, the very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her
En este
life.
momento estoy jugando
She
Stanley
had no
Parable.
time for this,
Así que déjame
so it
disfrutar
was
de
only
mi
a
muerte.
moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
Luego se volvió y cosas. Vaya. F. F en el chat por Stanley. Pobrecito, murió. Se ha recordado por siempre. Concha tu madre. Ya. Hay un logro. Hay un logro. Opciones. Extras. No. Logro desbloqueado. Logro. Ah, vale. Quería ver los logros, porque hay logros, pero... Logro desbloqueado, logro. Bueno, no me deja ver los logros acá.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Ya te tiraste la
Stanley
máquina de
decided
celos
to
y
go
ya
to
me
the
tira la
meeting
máquina de
room.
celos.
Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Bueno, vamos a hacer todo lo que él diga hasta la última opción. La última opción,
When
vamos a
Stanley
elegir lo
came
más
to
por
a
ahí.
set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Ya, con
Yet there was
permiso.
not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley
No.
decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Venimos para acá. Vamos al teclado.
The moment he entered his manager's office, Stanley froze in his
2,
tracks.
8,
Not
4,
a
5.
living soul anywhere. Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible.
Estaba
He
tan
didn't
apresurado
need a
para
single
avanzar la
minute
historia
to
lo más
just
rápido
let the
posible, que ni
narrator
siquiera dejaba
talk.
un minuto.
That kind of anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments with some calming New Age music.
Pobre hermano, pero me cagó. Concha tu madre, eso que era. Oh.
Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the open
Calmadamente hacia
passageway.
adentro. Vale. ¿Qué es eso? ¿Qué es eso? Vamos. No lo dejaba ni hablar, guacho.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control
Después tenía que
Facility.
pegar. Bueno, entramos acá. Activamos.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out? Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing. This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never... Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you? After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself. Is that what you wanted? Control? Oh, Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are set to explode, eliminating the entire complex. Detonation then, let's say, 2 minutes. Now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley? It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk about you, about me, where we're going, what all this means. I barely know where to start. What's that? You'd like to know where your co-workers are? A moment of solace before you're obliterated. All right, I'm in a good mood. You're gonna die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what happened to them. I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone. Other times, I let the office burn, swallowing everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp. I have to say this, though, this version of events has been rather amusing. Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go. But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go-around will be even better. My goodness, only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much. You know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on the clock, why not? These are precious additional seconds, Stanley. Time doesn't grow on trees. Oh dear me, what's the matter, Stanley? Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now? Or did you just assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning it off? I mean, look at you. Running from button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room. These number buttons, these color ones, or maybe this big red button, or this door. Everything, anything, something here will save me. Why would you think that, Stanley? That this video game can be beaten? Won? Solved? Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is? Stanley, you're in for quite a disappointment. But here's a spoiler for you. That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving on. It's just seconds ticking away to your death. You're only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless. to see you made humble. This is not a challenge, it's a tragedy. You wanted to control this world, that's fine. But I'm going to destroy it first, so you
No, me quedo 31 segundos. Amigo, ayúdenme.
Take a look at the clock, Stanley.
No, ahí se pone
That's
música
30
agresiva.
seconds you have left to struggle. 30 seconds
amigo,
until a big
ayúdenme.
boom and then
Ya
nothing.
llegó el 5.
No ending,
No, ayúdenme.
just you being blown to pieces. Will you cling desperately to your frail life?
5.
Or will you let it go peacefully?
No hice nada.
Another
No.
choice.
Está bien.
Make it count. Or don't.
muerto.
It's all the same to me.
No,
all a
no.
part of the joke.
8.
And believe me, I
7.
will be laughing at every
5.
second of your inevitable
4.
life from the
3.
moment we fade in
No.
until the moment I say, happily
No, amigo. Y... F. F potente. Y morí. Vale.
All of his
Okay.
co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley
Bueno,
decided to go to the
tengo
meeting
un par de
room.
escenarios
Perhaps he
más
had
para
simply
sacar.
missed a memo.
Así que tengo que ir por la puerta derecha.
When Stanley came to a
Izquierda
set
no,
of two
derecha.
open doors, this was
Permisito.
not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Un permisito.
Stanley felt lightheaded, butterflies in his stomach.
Esa es la puerta,
But
sí, ya
eager
lo
to
sé.
get back to business,
Ya sé que
Stanley
sí,
took
no.
the first open door on his
verdad.
left.
Damos esto.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Dale, móvete.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you... What?
Ya.
Really? I was in the
tenía que
middle of
quitarme si
something.
no
Do you
abría
have
esta puerta.
zero consideration for others?
te puedo
Are you
abrir.
that convinced that I want something bad to happen to
No,
you?
necesito otra
Why?
vez.
I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you
conozco ese
something
juego.
beautiful. No,
Así como
let me
conmigo no
prove
me-
it. Let me prove that I'm on
Igual
your
es tomar
side.
decisiones así al
Give me a
azar.
chance.
Ya. ¿Quieres que tome la roja? Voy a tomar la roja.
Now listen carefully, this is important.
Esto es
Stanley
importante.
walked through the
Stanley
red
caminó
door.
por la puerta roja. Vale. Camino por la puerta roja.
Oh, thank God you are willing to listen to me. Do you see that I really have wanted you to be happy all this time? The problem is all these choices. The two of us always trying to get somewhere that isn't here.
Bueno,
running
empezar a dar
and
la vuelta
running
en
and
círculo.
running, just the way you're doing right now. Don't you see that it's killing us, Stanley? I wanted to stop. We would both be so
Se
much
ven mucho
happier
más
if we
felices si tan
just
solo
stopped.
se detenga.
And I think I have a solution. Here, let me show you.
Oh. O sea, tirarme al vacío. Tirado. Bueno. Ay. Ya.
What do we want? What are we looking for?
No sé lo que estamos haciendo ni lo que estamos buscando.
Here. Yes. Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it? If we just stay right here, right in this moment with this place, Stanley, I think I feel
La verdad que sí, es bastante hermoso.
I actually feel happy.
Open your mind. Voy a ver en mi mente. Oh. ¿Y si me voy? Ah.
No, wait.
No,
Where are you
¿dónde
going?
vas?
Oh no. Stay away from those stairs. If you hurt yourself, if you die, the game will reset. We'll lose all of this.
Please, no, Stanley, let me stay here. Don't take this from me.
Déjame quedarme aquí. Oh. ¿Me puedo tirar?
Please, Stanley, think about what you're doing.
Lo que estoy haciendo es que estoy parado enfrente de lo que es una caída bastante mortal. Y si presiono para adelante me puedo caer. Pero si presiono para atrás, no mucho. ¿Y si soy buena persona y regreso? Tranquilo, amigo nadador. Te voy a hacer caso, voy a regresar. Soy una buena persona. No quiero quitarte lo único que tienes. Y se regresa a la sala. La maravillosa.
Good. We can't be too safe. Promise me you won't go back there. Just stay.
No volverás ahí. Solo quédate aquí. Sí, no volveré ahí. Un poquitito.
No. What did we talk about? You're risking everything we achieved here. You heard me before, didn't you? You will die. What about this isn't getting through to you?
¿Te acuerdas que está gratis de Miguel por ahora? Creo que ya dejó de estar gratis. ¿O puedo tirar? ¿Eso es lo que quieres, narrador? ¿Me puedo tirar? ¿O puedo volver? De nuevo. Estaba gratis, ahora ya no está más gratis. Ok. Tranquilo, nadador, puedo volver. Que se tire. Todo quieren hacer que haga la suicidación. Esta habitación es muy hermosa.
You are going to stay here, aren't you?
Aquí, ¿no es así? Puede ser. Observando esto. Voy lentamente. Adiós. Chao. ¿Hacemos la suicidación? Hacemos. Si no me dice nada para que me detenga, lo hago. No me estás diciendo nada. Lo hago. ¡Ja!
No! Thank God you lived.
Me tenía preocupado por un
momento.
momento.
Now,
¿podemos regresar a la habitación?
Dale.
Me regreso. Potente.
There. See? This is what
Esto
you
es lo que
want.
quieres.
This is where we
Aquí
can
donde
both
podemos
be
ser
happy.
felices.
We really can. If we stop moving, we just have to stop
Sigue,
moving.
mátate. ¿Y si me quiero seguir matando? Con permiso.
Stanley, go back. There's nothing good that can come from this.
Creo que te llamo otra vez. Otra vez.
No. What do you just not believe me? What can I say to convince you?
¿Qué puedo decir para convencerte? Te quería que me iba a tirar. Voy a regresar a la habitación así te conformo una vez más. Tranquilo, narrador, tranquilo, relájate. Acá somos todos cumpi compañeros. Hermano, relájate. Yo regreso a mi habitación. Puedo decir que está todo bien. ¿Ves? Igual no me estás diciendo nada, así que me estás dando otra razón para matarme. No estás muy preocupado por mí, así que me voy a matar. Con permiso, dijo Monchito. No mal ese viaje. No te escucho. No escucho que digas algo para que evite saltar. Salto. Au.
Stanley, let's go back to the other room. Can you do that for me?
Vale. Está bien.
Yes. Perhaps you can. Perhaps you finally see what I'm talking about.
De lo que estoy hablando. De
I
alto
know
viaje fumado.
you'll see that we can't be happy if we leave this place. You can see that, can't you?
Yo veo estrellas y un poco de marihuana, pero estoy bien. O me puedo tirar de nuevo. Eso también es factible.
No, perhaps not.
Le está rompiendo la pelota potentemente al jugador.
My God, is this really how much you dislike my game? You'll throw yourself from this platform over and over to be rid of it? You are literally willing to kill yourself to keep me from being happy. Am I reading the situation correctly?
Dale, mi tío, no. Bien. Au.
Or maybe you're just getting a kick out of it. I don't know anymore. I just wanted us to get along. But I guess that was too much. Do you actually want to stay alive? Or are you just teasing me?
¿Quieres seguir conmigo? ¿O solo estás jugando conmigo? Ya
I
te
wanted us to be happy here, Stanley.
Quizás seamos
I really
felices aquí.
did. I wish I still thought that was possible.
Aún creer que eso era posible. No, pero me voy a seguir matando. Por mi visito me voy a seguir matando. Lo estoy sacando de quicio el narrador. No es nada personal, viste, pero es así el juego. Por mi visito me voy a tirar de nuevo.
Is it over? It's going to restart, isn't it? I'm going back.
Concha tu madre. Ya mátate de una vez, ya está, ya morí, ya está. Pobrecito. Ay,
Just a step through this door, Stanley thought to himself, that's all I need. If I can make it through this door, I can make it through them all.
Bueno, hay una puerta, hay un ascensor que me gustaría tomar ahora.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. The lounge was grand, majestic, perhaps, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Doblamos acá.
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
Down.
But Stanley didn't want to go back to the office. He wanted to wander about and get even further off track. So now in order to get back, he needed to go, from here it's, left.
¿Y si quiero ir a la derecha? No quiero ir a la izquierda. Quiero ir a la derecha. No, esa puerta me dio miedo. Bueno. ¿Y si regreso? No.
Oh, no, it's to the right.
La
My
puta madre que
mistake.
te parió.
No,
Puta madre.
not the right. Why would I have ever said it was to the right? What was I thinking?
¿No has ido bailando el tipo?
Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute, please?
Soy hijo de puta.
We went down, right, down, left, right. Yep, okay, yes. I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely this way.
Ah, por ahí. Bueno, dale.
No. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler.
Todo esto es
Quick,
un
Stanley,
spoiler.
close your
Pero esto
eyes.
ya lo sé, hermano.
Okay.
Está lisiado el ojo.
Back to, who am I kidding? It's all rubbish now.
Ahora
The whole
todo es
story
basura.
completely unusable.
La
How
historia
about, rather
entera.
than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning. And this time, suppose we don't wander so far off track, Okay, from the top.
¿Listo? ¿Ese fue el final? Perfecto, me gusta. Bueno, ahora entro en mi duda existencial porque no sé qué más finales sacar. Sé
All
que
of
hay
his
muchos más,
co-workers were
pero...
gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley... Wait, what? No,
What?
I restarted. I swear, I definitely restarted the game over, completely fresh. Everything should be... Oh, did something change? Stanley, did you change anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors? Did you
¿Viste algo
move
en la
the
historia del otro
story
lado?
somewhere?
Yo no hice nada, mano, no hice
Hold
nada.
on. Why am I asking you? I'm the one who wrote the story.
Yo soy el que
Right
está
here, just
escribiendo
a
la
minute
historia.
ago. I
Podría
know for
saber,
sure that
hermano.
it's here somewhere. Okay then. It's an adventure. Come, Stanley. Let's find
Encontremos la
the
historia.
story.
Yo quiero ir por acá. El tema es que hay una silla de por medio y no puedo. Ya tengo como muchas opciones. A ver, el primero que digamos. Como dije, hay un final que se hace con consola. Se hace con consola, vaya. Entonces está. ¿Dónde podemos ir? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Un número. Alguien que diga un número, del 1 al 5. El primero que lo diga lo selecciono. Mucha puerta, hermano. Me pongo paranoico.
I'll say it. This is the worst adventure I've ever been on. I can promise you there definitely was a story here before. Do we need to restart the game again?
Debemos de iniciar el
Well, I
juego.
find it
Sí, puede
unlikely
ser.
that we'll ever progress by starting over and over again, but it's got to be better than this. Okay, let's give it a shot. Why not?
Vale, lo iniciamos. Está bien, está bien. Ok.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Okay, yep, it's worse. I might be remembering this wrong.
No tengo ni una
It's
puerta.
possible the story is back where we just came from. Why don't we go back the other direction and see if we missed anything?
Si nos perdimos algo. Bueno, volvamos. Hay una taza caída. Nada. Nada.
Aha! I knew we'd missed something. The story. Here it comes. No, wait. Never mind. Not the story. Okay, let's head back the other way and retrace our steps.
Bueno, estamos revisando nuestros pasos.
Now this... Well, I'll be honest, I don't recognize this place at all. Is this the story? I don't think so. I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that correct? Do you remember, Stanley?
No tengo volver para salir.
Well, do you know what? Since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about this? You win!
¡Yeah! ¡Vamos!
Congratulations!
¡Vamos! ¡Gané! ¡Vamos! La puta
Anybody
madre!
done a
Soy
lot of hard
buenísimo,
work,
hermano.
and it really paid off. So, good
¡Vamos,
job.
pibe! Vale.
Oh, no, I don't feel right about this at
Pero
all.
yo sí me siento
We
bien.
both
Acabo
know
de
we didn't
ganar.
put in any actual work for that win.
Okay.
Some people win fair and square, and this was not one of those situations. Okay, I'm getting weirded out by whatever this place is. I don't care what might happen this time. I have to restart.
Vale, reinicia. No es que pueda hacer mucho más. Había ganado. No se vale.
All right,
Stanley
I've
Parable
got a
Adventure
solution.
Line.
This
Vale.
time, to make sure we don't get lost, I've employed the help of the Stanley Parable Adventure Line. Just follow the line. How simple is that?
Vale. No sigo la línea. Tuturu. Vale, yo sigo la línea.
You see? The line knows where the story is. It's over in this direction. Onward, Stanley, to destiny. Though, here's a thought. Wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story there? Or to put it another way, is the story
No,
of
no
no
puedo trepar la
destination
pared
still a
altura.
story? Simply by the act of moving forward, are we implying a journey such that a destination is inevitably
puedo
conjured
saltar
into
así.
being via the very manifestation of the nature of life itself? Whoa. Hang on. That got a bit weird back there. Well, I'd like to apologize. Not sure where I was going with all that. You know what? I think what we need right now is a bit of music to lighten the mood.
No soy cuál. Hermano. Vale. Zigzag. Yo sigo siguiendo la línea.
the music. Go back and look at that fern. Stanley, this fern will be very important later in the story. Make sure you study it closely and remember it carefully. You won't want to miss anything.
Ok, hay que recordar este hecho. Obsérvenlo bien. Vean cada detalle de este hecho. Tiene una mariposa en la esquina izquierda. Ah, sí. ¿Dónde? El mío está flasheando, hermano. Un color verde fuerte. Tiene 48 damas. Ya, ¿la contaste toda? Ya.
Wait, what? We're back at the office? No. Line, you do know we're looking for the Stanley Parable, right? The story? Is any of this ringing a bell?
Yo sigo la línea. Se cruzó con otra línea, pero bueno, yo la sigo siguiendo.
Oh, no, not again, Line. How could you have done this to us? And after we trusted you, after everything we've been through, you... Oh, I can't take this anymore. To hell with it. Restart.
Otra vez restar. Y dale con los restar, dale. Ahora confiamos en la línea.
You know what, Stanley? I say forget the adventure line. What's it ever done for us? We're intelligent people, right? Why can't we make up our own story? Something exciting, daring, mysterious. Ooh, this all sounds perfectly doable. Why don't we simply start wandering in, well, I don't know. How about this direction?
Dale. Ahora tengo que ir a la dirección y vamos a hacer
now,
detectives.
Yes, this is exciting. Just me and Stanley forging a new path, a new story. Well, it could be anything. What do you want our story to be? Go wild. Use your imagination. Whatever it might be, Stanley, I'm ready for it.
Yo igual, dale. Estoy listo para lo que sea. Vamos.
Oh, no, not you again. Stanley, I'd also like to veto the line from having any role in our awesome new story. No lines or monitor rooms. Just don't acknowledge it, and we should be fine.
Vale, hagamos de caso de nuevo a la línea. Madre mía, la línea. Madre mía, la línea, hermano. Lamento informar que la línea se me fue.
Ah, a choice. We get to make a decision. From here, the story is in our control. How important we mustn't squander the opportunity. In fact, I believe I need a minute to think here. Just walk in circles for a minute. Okay, so I know that each door has to lead somewhere, which means that somewhere, the place where we're trying to go, there must be a reverse door that leads here. And that in turn means that our destination corresponds with the counter-inverted reverse door's origin. So starting from the right, let us ask, will taking the right door lead us to where we're going? And since the answer is clearly yes, then by all accounts, the door on the right is the correct one. Another victory for logic. Come, Stanley, our destiny awaits.
Vamos.
Oh, hold up, what's this?
Confusión ending.
The confusion ending.
¿Esos son todos los finales?
That's what this is? It's all one giant ending? And we're supposed to restart the game
sí que son muchos finales,
eight times?
60 restart.
That's really how all this goes?
80 restart, 7...
Determined? So now, according to the schedule, I
Primero
restart
restart,
again.
segundo restart. O sea que cada
Am I
restart
just
puedo
supposed to
terminar
forget?
ese final.
Well, what if I don't want to forget?
No sé por qué restart estamos
My mind
yendo,
goes
pero...
blank simply because it's
máximo
written
es
here
8,
on this
8 restarts.
thing, wall. Well, who consulted me? Why don't I get to decide? Why don't I get a say in all of this? Is it really... No, it can't be. I don't want it to be. I don't want the game to keep restarting. I don't want to forget what's going on. I don't want to be trapped like this. I won't restart the game. I won't do it. I won't do it. I won't do it.
Bueno, no va a reiniciar.
And the timer stopped? Does that mean, did we do it? Did we break the cycle? The, whatever it is that made this schedule? How would we even know? Will someone come for us? Will something happen?
Es una excelente pregunta. ¿Qué pasará ahora?
So, okay.
Vale.
I guess now we just wait. You know, I suppose in some way that this is a kind of story, wouldn't you agree? I'm not quite sure if we're in the destination or the journey, though they're always saying that life is about the journey and not the destination. So I hope that's where we are right now. We'll find out, won't we? Eventually. Well, in the meantime, if you do happen to have a...
¡Concha tu madre! ¿Qué carajo fue eso, la puta madre? Y se reseteó. Hola. ¿Este es el original? Un reseteo completo.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps.
Ahora no sé si esto es parte del otro final o no es parte del otro final. No tengo ni idea. Me parece que todo
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Ya, no tengo ni idea de lo que estoy haciendo, hermano. A ver, vamos por la izquierda. Voy a intentar abrir todas las puertas.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
No.
Okay, I think we all know the drill by now. Blah, blah, blah. Dark secrets, the keypad. Stanley pushes some buttons. Oh, hey, look, it's a new passageway.
Ya hasta él apura las cosas. Yo no tuve que hacer nada. Tremendo oficial tiene jefe, viste, potente. Ya hasta él se cansa de explicarme todas las cosas siempre. Vale.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out? Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing. This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No. He refused to believe it.
Never.
He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
Vale, a esta parte ya llega.
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
3. El 4 está ahí arriba. Debe haber un final con estos números. Porque si no al pedo están estos 4. Y el 5 está allá. Y no pasó nada. Drac Edu Bro. Gracias por el follow. No puedo ir esa tampilla. ¿Y si empiezo a toquetear botones? Toqueteo. 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 Nada. Nada. Un botón rojo. Nada. Nada. Esta puerta está para algo. Pero no puedo hacer nada. Lo mismo, no sé cómo quitar el otro final para acá. ¡Oh, botón rojo! No lo puedo presionar. Y un botón rojo acá. Pero creo que presioné ese botón rojo, hermano. ¿A poco ese botón rojo no lo presionarían por algo? Directamente pongo la cabeza encima de ese botón. No lo puedo presionar. ¿Y ahora qué hago? No puedo presionar ese botón. Y si lo hago explotar y toco ese botón, lo vamos a hacer explotar.
And when at last he found the sword... Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you? After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself. Is that what you wanted? Control? Oh, Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are set to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Let's say 2 minutes. Now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley? It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk about you, about me, where we're going, what all this means. I barely know where to start. What's that? You'd like to know where your co-workers are? A moment of solace before
el botón rojo, pero no hizo nada. Y si presiono esto y después lo presiono el botón rojo.
I'll tell you exactly what happened to them. I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone. Other times, I let the office sink into the ground, swallowing everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp. I have to say this, though, this version of events has been rather amusing. Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go. But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go-around will be even better. My goodness, only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much. You know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on the clock, why not? These are precious additional seconds, Stanley. Time doesn't grow on trees. Oh dear me, what's the matter, Stanley? Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now? Or did you just assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning it off? I mean, look at you, running from button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons, no, these colored ones, or maybe this big red button, or this door. Everything, anything, something here will save me. Why would you think that, Stanley? That this video game can be beaten? One solved? Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is?
No dice ningún número.
But you really believe there's an answer? How many times will you replay this bit, looking desperately for a solution? 10?
No, eso
100?
no sirve nada.
I look forward to finding out and to watching the bomb go off each time you fail.
De un oficinista que se la pasa presionando botones
over and over and over for all of eternity.
De repente ya no hay más nadie y bueno, a partir de ahí tienes que tomar decisiones y se toman decisiones y después ocurren cosas como que una bomba va a explotar en 33 segundos. Goodbye.
Take a look at the clock, Stanley.
No.
That's 30 seconds you have left to struggle.
Ayúdame.
30 seconds until a big boom and then nothing. No ending here, just you being blown to pieces. Will you cling desperately to your frail life, or will you let it go peacefully? Another choice. Make it count, or don't. It's all the same to me, all a part of the joke. And believe me, I will be laughing at every second of your inevitable life from the moment we fade in until the moment I say,
chau. Entonces, no, ya presioné toda la basura y no pasó nada más. 3, 2, 1. Ya, ahora sí que no tengo ni idea de dónde sacar más finales. A ver, un segundo. Necesito regresar al menú y ver los logros. Hay un logro. Pulsa la puerta 430 5 veces. Al menos me voy a sacar ese logro. 430.
all of his co-workers were... Oh, please. Are you really just doing this for the achievement? Click a door 5 times. Is that all that you think an achievement is worth? No. I can't just give these merits away for such little effort. A measly 5 clicks. Now suppose you were to click the door 20 times. I would say that's the kind of effort that warrants recognition.
Ese tipo es excesivo. Bueno, dale. 1, 2, 3, 4.
I have to say, I'm still not feeling the satisfaction of witnessing true effort for a noble cause. Perhaps 50 clicks will do it. Yes, almost
50, hermano, la concha de tu madre. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
No, I'm still not feeling
Concha
it.
tu madre,
I want this achievement to have meant something. It has to be a true reward for valiant effort. I want to see some hustle, Stanley. I want to see commitment, a willingness to go all the way, no matter what the cost. Why don't you go put 20 clicks into door number 417?
417. 417, 417, 417, 417, 417, 417, 417, 417, 417, 420. Acá. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Great.
5.
Now, go click a few times on door 437.
Ya. 37, 37, 437, 437, 437, 437, 437. ¿Dónde está 437? 432, acá.
Excellent. I think we're getting somewhere. Now, door 415. Let's give it 10 clicks or so.
415, 415, 415, 415, 415. La puta madre, todo pasa con un logro de mierda. 415, 415, 415, acá.
Now, back to door number 437.
434, 437, 437, 437, 437, 437, 437, 437, acá.
Let's see. How about you click on, well, I don't know, the copy machine?
¿Dónde está? Acá.
All right, back to room 417. I'm really feeling it now. I think we're getting somewhere.
417, 417, 417, 417, acá.
Okay, now go climb on employee 419's desk.
De 19. 419, 419, ¿dónde carajo está el 419? Este es de 17, 18, 19. ¿Qué hago acá?
Yes!
Bien.
This is great! You're putting it all on the line, Stanley. I like that. All right, let's keep it up. Go give me a few
16.
clicks on door 416.
416.
We've almost got it! Now the copy machine, do that
tengo
one
computadora.
again!
¿Dónde carajo estaba? No, en la otra lado.
Finish it off, Stanley! 5 clicks on door 430!
¡Vamos!
Yeah!
Bien, me
We
saqué
did
el
it!
logro, vamos los pibes.
wow.
Oh,
That
hermano,
felt
vamos los
amazing.
pibes.
Oh, you really earned it, Stanley. Nothing could hold you back. Yes, I'm very proud of how far we've come today. Just think, only a few minutes ago you believed an achievement was worth 5 little clicks. Really now, what were you thinking?
Oh, hermano, me conseguí el logro. Oh, potente. Se volvió el reloj con el tipo mal. Por un logro de mierda. Y menos mal que eran 5 clics encima de la puerta 430. Ya, a ver.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to
Bueno,
admire
hay
it.
partes finales que hay que sacar por acá. Así
And here
que-
it was, the lounge. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
con permisito.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Con permisito, vamos.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you forgot.
What? Really?
I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side.
Dale, te doy
Give me a
chance.
chance.
Decime.
Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
Soy daltónico.
Aha, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door.
Soy daltónico.
I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked through the red door.
Soy
All
daltónico.
right, fine. Go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't let me stop you. You see? There's nothing here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted? Was it worth ruining the entire story I had written out specifically for you? Do you not think I put a lot of time into that? Because I did. And in the end, it was all for nothing. Because this is what you wanted to see. Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles? Skill trees? Work with me. You've given me absolutely nothing so far. Tell you what. Let me take a stab in the dark at a new design, and you can give me some feedback. There we go. A
Vale,
third
a esto
option.
quería llegar.
This
Ahora
already
tengo otra
feels
opción, así
leaps
que puedo
ahead of
elegir.
where we were before. Go
Menos
ahead,
esa, puedo
Stanley.
elegir estas
Take it
dos.
for a spin.
Voy por la izquierda. 4.
Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Now, tell me about your experience with this new version. Would you say that the game
Ya,
benefited
te voy a dar
from allowing you more choices?
Dije que te voy a dar
Feel
5.
free to be honest. I'm looking for some real critical feedback here.
Dije que te voy a dar 5, ¿listo?
You see, I knew I was onto something. Where do these flashes of inspiration come from? How did I know the game needed a third door?
Hay un final acá que tengo que sacar
It's
y la
instinct
verdad va a
mostly,
costar
a
bastante.
calling in your gut.
Voy a
I really
volver
couldn't
loco.
say where the idea came from, except that I felt it in my soul.
Ya,
You can't
tranquilo.
teach that, Stanley.
Relájense.
Don't
Ya
even
después
try.
iré al SCP,
Here,
relájense.
based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look. Now, would you say that competitive
sí.
leaderboard helped you feel motivated to keep working
Huelga,
through
huelga,
tasks? Again, honest answers, please. Hey, I nearly forgot.
sí.
I've got a prototype of a new game I've been working on, and now would be a lovely opportunity to give it some playtesting. You wouldn't mind taking a look at it, would you? Perfect. Let me boot it up.
Déjame cargarlo. Bueno, esto va a ser un suplicio.
In this game, the
Bueno,
baby crawls left
sí que ese
towards
botón para
danger.
moverlo.
You click the button to move him back to the right, and if he reaches the fire, you fail. It's a very meaningful game, all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands of family life. I think the art world will really take notice. But of course, the message of the game only becomes clear once you've been playing it for about 4 hours. So why don't you give it 4 hours of play to make sure it's effective? Be sure to keep notes on your experience.
Bueno. Solo los que matan. Pero tengo que... El final de matarlo ya lo saqué. Ahora tengo que sacarme el otro final. De salvarlo por 4 horas. Ya lo maté, hermano. Ya lo he matado. Ahora tengo que salvarlo por 4 horas. Así que vamos a estar un largo de atacar. No, hay que tener una paciencia para jugar esta basura 4 horas. Ya a las 7:30, 5 altura. Ya, chiquillo, vámonos. Es que no tengo paciencia para esta basura. No tengo paciencia. Literalmente no tengo paciencia.
You heartless bastard.
Bastardo.
Did you do it because you hate babies or purely to spite me? Because if it's the latter, well, I don't know what to do. I'm completely out of ideas. I can't think of a single thing that might improve the experience for me. I'm not even going to try. I'm out. I'm done. It's over. Thank you for playing. Your input was extremely valuable. Oh, hey, since my game was so awful, why don't you play someone else's game, just to ease the pain? Let's see. What do we have here?
Bueno, ahora vamos a jugar Minecraft y después Portal.
Yes, this seems like it'll work. Let's give it a shot.
Ayuda, están todos jugando en FF off. ¿Qué hago? No es que estoy jugando Minecraft.
Well, Stanley, is this any better?
No es que estoy jugando Minecraft.
One thing you've always desired.
¿Qué problema hay de que todos estén
I
jugando en
had
FF off?
absolutely nothing to do with. But is it enough?
Hay menos
Tell me
TK,
that,
mejor así. Menos
Will it
gente que
ever
mañana.
be enough? Well, I'll say this. I'm done making things for you. From now on, I will only
Igual
create
ya
to
termino todo lo
fulfill a
último
greater
ya, porque
artistic
ya no tengo ni idea de dónde
purpose.
sacar
Watch
finales.
this, Stanley. I'm going to build a house. This will go here, no, here, and then...
Es divertido el FF. Y bueno, activar el FF en ese servidor y ya está. Nadie se dará cuenta.
Let's see.
De última
What
decir
does
que
it
está mal
need?
configurado el servidor.
Yes, of course. And just to finish it all off, yes, it's complete. I know this, Stanley. Look at it. Gaze upon my work of art and feel ashamed at your own inadequacy. Ah, but you've only seen it from the outside. You've only gotten half the experience. Please, step inside and make yourself comfortable. Isn't it grand? Isn't it perfect? It could only be better if...
Es una muy buena
Wait,
casa, la verdad.
that's it. We must rebuild it out of diamond. Diamond everything. Yes. Come along, Stanley. We have to go mining.
Vamos a picar diamante. Vamos. Oh, yeah. Diamantes.
Oh my, it looks like it's going to get a bit dark. Have you brought a light?
Carbono. Nada, no he traído luz.
Oh, no. This is far more open-ended than I had in mind. I'm looking for something more narrow and linear. Something that makes you feel utterly irrelevant. This won't do at all. 1 out of 5. Even the diamonds couldn't save this one. Okay, new game.
New game, vale. Ahora Portal.
Yes! I don't even know what this game is, but I love it. You, trapped in a glass box with no way out, listening to me talk. Oh, it's inspired. I couldn't have done it any better myself. What is this game even supposed to be? I can't figure it out. Okay, now I'm curious. Let's go find out what the hell this is.
Espera que tengo que tumbar la taza.
It's a puzzle. Critical thinking, Stanley. Your forte.
Ahora sí tirar el cubo.
Genius.
Casi. ¡Ah, puta madre! No la puedo tirar muy lejos, digamos. Me llevo miedo a Dios.
No, actually, you know what? I think that's plenty. I really don't care much to see you stumble through any more of these games, and I highly doubt you're any wiser for the experience. Which is why, rather than continue to waste my time, I'm just going to leave you here. You can pretend you've beaten the game if it makes it any richer for you, but as for me, I've had enough.
Stanley Parable.
So, why don't you get cozy in this room, and if you have any grand revolutionary ideas for the perfect video game, you can just sit there and let it ball up inside you for all eternity. I don't need your advice. I don't need your ratings. And I certainly don't need the validation of a man whose job is to push buttons. I think I'll just go about my business, making meaningful cultural contributions to the world. And perhaps every now and then, I'll think back to a man named Stanley who was objectively wrong in every decision he ever made. The thought won't last long. Goodbye, Stanley. Good luck with your work. And I sincerely hope that everyone lives happily ever after.
Vale. ¿Me puedo tirar? Gracias. No, la radio dejó de sonar. Bueno, pero a mí no tengo la radio. Bien, tengo la radio. No, radio, vuelve a mí. No, acá no, de nuevo. ¿Dónde era que tenía que ir? Acá me parece. Ahí está la luz final. ¿De qué se trata el juego? De un oficinista que su trabajo era simplemente presionar botones en un teclado y un día no le llega ninguna orden para presionar teclas y no hay nadie en la oficina, está él completamente solo y bueno, el resto se basa en simplemente tomar decisiones y ya.
I wonder what he found. If what he wanted was to be the leading man in his own story, well, perhaps he's gotten it. Down in wherever he is right now. I wonder if he's happy with his choice, and if he's learned the heavy cost that comes with it. He'll understand soon what I was trying to tell him. He needs me. Someone who will wrap everything up at the end, to make sense out of the chaos and the fear and the confusion. That's who I am. That is what I mean to this world. Oh, yes. Yes, I'll be back. There's no other way. Once this ends, after it all comes to a close, then I'll be back. The end will be here soon. Very soon. I can wait.
Puedo esperar. Vale. ¿Me considero un streamer? O como se diga. A mí, creo que sí. Depende. Depende de muchas cosas. Aprovechemos mientras tiene cordura. Bueno. Ya no tengo mucho más final que
A
sacar.
soft wind blew outside and perhaps rain started. And if it did, it stopped shortly after. Stanley...
Nada. Vamos a retirarnos. Vamos a SCP, pero antes debo cortar el stream. Volveré, no se lo retiren.